Hey everyone, welcome back here to another episode of Inspired Minds. Please help me and welcome Dr. Peck. Flow is yours,
Hello.
Dr. Peck. So before we start, share with everyone who you are and what it is that you're busy doing.
Okay, so my name is Amiena Peck. I am a lecturer at the linguistics department at UWC, but I also have another hat. So what I do is I'm a digital EQ coach. And what I'm so excited about, and we can talk about emotional intelligence throughout today's podcast, but what I offer is making emotional intelligence training accessible to everyone. So I teach corporates this skill, which is amazing. But what I'm doing now, and this is the first month that I started these classes, I offer one group workshop, one pre-recorded lecture, self-learning tools and exercises. And the value of this is actually about 3,500 conservatively, but I'm giving it away for 100 Rand a month. Okay.
Wow.
That's 100 Rand a month. I mean, I don't know what you can buy for 100 Rand these days, but the reason why I'm doing this is because my heart, my mission in life is to create an emotionally intelligent Africa. That's the big vision. But I need to start wherever I am. So if it's a mom, if it's a lecturer, if it's somebody that's coming off drugs or whatever your background, if you want to change your life, you can. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Awesome. So Dr. Peck, I've always been excited to have on any guest that can bring value when it comes to the mind, when it comes to the body. Because I feel if we can balance those two out and make those two stronger, then we can actually move forward in life. So
100%.
where did everything start for you? What has your journey been? What has your past been to where you are today? Share with us, walk us through.
Okay, sit tight because when I saw your questions before, and I have to tell you, I thought, oh, this is such a huge question. So I'm going to try to be as succinct as possible, but I have to tell you, the journey to this point has not been easy. And of course, okay, so basically, after my second child in 2017, I had the most terrible natal depression. Okay, I had it for 18 months. It was almost manic. So I would go from going into work. I was editing an international volume. I was promoted that year. I was doing so well. I was breastfeeding, like expressing milk okay, just I have to tell you. So expressing milk at work, breastfeeding at home, it's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. Okay, so I was doing that, and then I was coming home and I was crying on my baby. I was like anxious all the time, and I felt like I was losing my mind. So I was like, okay, then people come in and then I'm pretending to be this great human being. It was complete insanity. I didn't tell anyone that what I was going to do until I was done with it. Okay, so I went through the 18 months of pure hell, and what helped me without a shadow of a doubt was YouTube, because I would Google things like how to be happy, what's the purpose of life, how to live inside my own brain. I couldn't understand why my brain was hurting me, like honest to God. And then I came across YouTubers like Tom Billio and Evans Carmichael and Brian Tracy, and I was like, oh, these people are so inspiring, and they made me happy again. I was like, okay, this is cool. So there's something known as emotional intelligence, and I was like, okay, I'm starting to feel better. And then I go to varsity and I'm looking at all these kids or students, and they're so anxious and they're so like worried and nervous. And I started, and I thought, no, I'm going to do something. I don't want other people to suffer like I did. And so I started giving these free emotional intelligence workshops, which is like 2.5 to 3 hours once a month to anyone who was interested, any faculty, didn't matter. And I did this for 3 years. And in the third year, I decided I need qualifications to go with this. So it's not just enough that I've done a lot of learning. I also want to know that I've got the qualifications. So I nominated myself for a neuroscience in mentoring and coaching course. It was intensive. It was it was hectic, but I passed with honors. And then I decided, okay, this is great. I've got this. I'm helping students. but I want to reach more people. And so I started my own YouTube channel called Amiena Inspired. So we've got that in common, Inspired Lives.
Yeah.
Amiena Inspired. And then I started my own digital EQ coaching company. And that's what brought me here. So it was depression, workshops, YouTube, and now I'm here on your channel.
Awesome. And Dr. Peck, you mentioned that one of the people that you followed was Tom Bellew. And when I wouldn't say I went through depression, but I was in a dark space in my life where I didn't know why I'm here. And then I watched a video of Tom Bellew as well. He interviewed Jay Shetty, and the video's name is On Purpose. And Jay Shetty inspired me so much that it changed everything for me. My whole life changed. So what I've learned is that it starts with us. We need to, like you said, Dr. Peck, that we need to be aware of the problem. And once you're aware, we need to find out how can we change the situation and move forward.
100%. That is so beautiful. This is the one thing I always try to get people to understand. The problem is not out there. The problem is not that person. The problem is not in the magazine. The problem is not on TV. If you can point that finger inwards and say, you know what, I'm the problem. Because if I'm the problem, I'm always my own solution. And that's why I love it. I'm like, hey, oh, there's a problem? Yeah, I am the problem. How can I solve this? I don't outsource my happiness to anybody, not to my husband or my kids, friends, family. No. It's probably the most powerful thing you can ever do is walk up to somebody you really love with all your heart and soul and you tell them, this is Quincy Jones, not an ounce of my self-worth depends on your approval of me. So I had to write that down, rehearse it, memorize it, because my husband was like my world. Like if he liked me, then I like me. If he didn't, it's like, that's crazy. And I went up to him and I said that, not an ounce of my own, not an ounce of my self-worth is dependent on whether you approve of me or not. And he looked at me and he said, yeah, me too. He was like, duh. But for me, that was a huge, huge step in the right direction. And now I don't go to anybody for like my life advice. Like I will have my inner circle, but at the end of the day, I make decisions. That's me. It's my life. So yeah, it should always come back to us.
And Dr. Peck, what do you think when it comes to emotions? What do you think people struggle with the most out there?
I know what I struggle with the most. It's feeling like they're not good enough, feeling like they're not worthy. When you're insecure, when you have imposter syndrome, when you're walking around like just hoping that people don't actually see who you really are, you're not good enough. That is what everybody has. Like everyone, you can strip away all the other issues that they have, they don't think that they're good enough. And this, as soon as people become aware of it, it's so painful because it's usually rooted in their childhood. It's usually something that somebody said or did, and it became, when you're young, you're not sophisticated in language, right? So you're not going to say, oh, this is what happened, whatever. You're just going to have that feeling of, oh, I'm not good enough. I shouldn't be here. I'm out of place. I'm unlovable. And then as you get older, you become more sophisticated and you might say, oh, I don't like people, or I've got my guard up, but you don't actually investigate where that comes from. And so when I did that for myself, oh my God, I realized, oh, I thought I wasn't worthy of anything. And that opens the doors for like drugs, because drugs make you feel better, bad friends that just like, it's just a wormhole of crap. So what I had to do is, what we all have to do is we have to see the worth in ourselves. And when we see that, everything changes. So working on your self-limiting beliefs is something that a good coach can get you through. And it doesn't take years. It can take like 2 or 3 sessions and you're good. You'll just like walk out and be like, I don't even want to see you again because I got it. My life is good. And then that makes me happy. I'm like, I want people to walk away and say, I never need to see you again because I got it. And I'm going to go change the world. So, yeah.
Yeah. And Dr. Peck, the thing is, I followed Tom Bellew, I followed so many people. I'm at the point where I don't even need to watch the videos anymore. Because I'm in a good space and I feel like nothing can stop me now from moving forward. So I don't move backwards, I only move forward. And I think positivity plays a huge role. Your environment signals the genes.
Mm.
So Dr. Peck, for those people that has stressful jobs,
Mm.
that has stressful relationships, what
Mm.
can they do? Where can they
Okay.
start?
So I want to give you an example of, like, say you look, you notice that you've got this mark on your face. So you go to the mirror and you want to clean the mark off your face, right? You're not going to take some like a cloth and clean the mirror. Obviously, you're going to clean your face because that's where the mark is. So what people do is they go throughout their whole life saying, something doesn't feel right. The problem's outside. And it comes back to that whole idea of like, you are the problem, you are the solution. So if you say you have a stressful job or relationships are hard, what you have to recognize is that the common denominator is yourself. If you have a relationship, if you have a job that's stressful, you need to say, okay, what can I do in this situation? How can I make this better? It could be that you have to change your job. But some people will say, I'll just work here another 5, 10 years and see if it like changes. That gives me like, I want to kill people in a year. I'm like, you're gonna waste 5 whole years to figure out if this might change. Oh hell no. And the same goes with relationships. And I always tell people, if you're not sure whether you or not you want to be with somebody, don't come to my workshop because you'll figure that out. And then you'll be like, okay, I'm out. And so I've actually, and this is the truth, I've met a lot of amazing men and women that when they realize that they've done everything they can, they've had the conversations, they've changed their behavior, but at the end of the day, it wasn't them. You got to get up, pack your stuff, move on, and that's tough. But what's the alternative? Spending another 30, 40 years in a relationship or in an environment that's not good for you. I mean, how old are you, Kaden?
I'm 23, Dr. Peck.
You're 23. Okay. That's so young. It's lovely. Okay. So you're 23. Doesn't it feel like just yesterday you were like a small little child and now suddenly you're 23? Now,
100%.
it doesn't change when you're 40 or 60 or 80 or whatever. So you always feel like just yesterday I was so young. So time flies. And I always tell people, how dare you sit on your butt and just watch your life go by? If you really want to complain, and this is the thing about me and venting, like, don't come to me to vent. If
Yeah.
you want to vent, I'm the wrong person, because I'm going to say, okay, what actions are you going to take or whatever, and I'm not going to allow people to just sit and moan. And I actually have had a rule, and this is going to sound very harsh, I have to say, but I had a rule in my house that people are not allowed to complain, especially about their family members. After a certain amount of time, I'm like, that's it. You're not allowed to come to my house. If you're not willing to make a change, then don't come to my house, or just sit here and be grateful for those in-laws that you hate so much. Be grateful because they are still there for you. Be grateful for the job that you say you hate, but every month you go and go buy food and you pay your rent or whatever. So gratitude is probably the first thing. You got to take a long, hard look at yourself. So if somebody's watching you, they're like, Amina, but you don't know my boss. My boss is so terrible. I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. But whose responsibility is it to change your life? Is it your boss's responsibility? Because your boss is not going to decide, oh, Amina's important, let me change my whole world for Amina. It doesn't work like that. But in order to change your life, you have to be confident. And that is something that emotional intelligence training will give you. It will inspire you to start saying, I matter, I'm a human being, I have purpose, and I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm going to say what I need to say in a beautiful way, not in a rude way. And if it doesn't work out, move on. So that's
And
what I do.
Dr. Peck, the thing that I feel that helped me a lot in moving forward was gratitude and love.
Mm.
Those two words, it changed everything for me, because once I could understand what love actually means and how much I need to be grateful for everything that I have in my life, then you can move forward. Then you're not worrying about other people's views about yourself. So share the importance about awareness, Dr. Peck. Share
Okay.
the one important thing.
Oh my goodness. So you cannot change, I think Dr. Foy used to say, you can't change what you don't acknowledge. But put another way, you can't change a problem if you don't know you have the problem, right? So you have to raise your awareness of what's going on in your life. And there's a very quick way for me to raise everyone's awareness. And people that's watching can do this. I'm going to do this now with you, Kaden. All I want you to do, and I know how you're going to respond because you've been on your own journey, but let's just do it anyway. I want you to just say these 3 simple words. I want you to say, I love myself. That's it.
I love myself.
Tell me, how do you feel having said
Awesome.
that?
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. And I can see like you're sitting up straight, your chest is out, you smile on your face. You believe what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Now, when other people say, I love myself, firstly, I've had people cry because they can't say it. They just like break down. They just break down. Or I have people do this. They're like, I love myself. Like they're laughing at themselves while they're saying it because they don't believe it. And I had somebody else say, she raised her hand, she said, look, Dr. Peck, I can't say I love myself because I don't want to lie. So she was like very fierce in how much she didn't like herself. And so when you want to raise people's awareness, like that's the building block of emotional intelligence. You have to, by asking them to say, I love myself, they really are going to tell you, either they're going to tell you verbally or non-verbally. Like, you know, they'll say, I love myself, and they're shaking their head, or they're doing this, or they're crying. And when that girl cried in the workshop, she's now a model, but she started off with, there's nothing to love. She's a freaking model. So she's this, like, she's beautiful, okay, if by beauty standards. And by, yeah, social standards. And she was sitting there and she cried, and somebody tried to comfort her. And I said, don't do it. Let her cry. Those are her tears. She needs to feel that pain. She needs to realize that she, at some point, decided that she wasn't good enough. And that sucks. And I respect tears, right? I've seen so many men and women cry. And for me, that's like such a good sign. Because when you cry, that's when you're most vulnerable and you're like letting it out. And it's powerful. Like, have you ever seen someone try not to cry? It's so painful. It's like, and I'm like, just cry for God's sake.
Yeah.
If you have to cry, cry. So but for those people that's watching, if you said, I love myself, and you felt a little bit weird, you felt out of sort, you're like, oh, I don't know. That's a sign that there's some work to be done. You need to start asking yourself, well, what is not likable about myself? Why can't I like myself? And when people tell me, I have to tell you this, Kaden, people will say, why should I say I love myself? Isn't that arrogant? Isn't that conceited? I get this question a lot, these questions. Then I ask them, like, would you want little children to say that they love themselves? I'm like, yeah, of course. I'm like, why must they love themselves? If you don't love yourself, especially a parent. And I'm like, they want their children to say it. And I'm like, who's modeling that behavior? Not you. So you have to understand that at every single day, like for those people that just heard about I love myself, it's so sad for me. Like everyone has used the words I, love, and myself in different ways, but not together, you know? And it can change your life. Just keep on saying it's neuro-linguistic programming. Every time you say, you think I'm not good enough, you say, no, I am good enough. I am incredibly confident. I love myself. I'm good this, I'm good that, I'm a good daughter, wife, whatever. So you have to kind of like give yourself a pep talk. And so when it comes to awareness, when you realize that, oh, it sucks for me to say I love myself because I feel sad, it makes me want to cry, that's actually a good thing. Because that's the first time that you meet yourself and you meet the fact that there's things that you need to work on. And then you give Amiena a call. And then we take it from there. So just so you know, I do voice coaching, like voice note coaching. I don't charge people for that. So if you're gonna WhatsApp me and you send me a voice note, I might respond in 24, 48 hours. That's like the max. But it's completely free. And I do it because I don't want to see lots of people. I want you to get the information and move on. And I've had so many success stories of people that's just like we don't have to charge people 100,000 rand to fix their life. If you have, I just need one thing from people. I need people to want to change. If you want to change, then I'm the person that you can call on. But if you're still thinking, there's no point, then I have to wait until you realize that maybe you deserve better. So that's a long answer to your question.
That's very, it's Dr. Peck, I would say that that's amazing because so many people, they fear change. They do not want to change. Or they feel that there's no need to change.
Yeah.
So Dr. Peck, what advice or message would you love to share with those people out there watching that's that's struggling with the emotions or that would wants to change? What can they do?
Okay, firstly, if you want to change, get hold of me. I'm going to give Kate and all my information because there is somebody out there that wants you to want to change, and that's me. But secondly, understand that wanting to change is half the battle won. So you're already like 50% there. For me, that's 50%. There's lots of online free resources. You don't have to start buying stuff. Don't go crazy and go buy books and whatever. Go online and go figure out what people are offering out there. Okay, um, that's another thing. But also practice self-love, like without a doubt. Look in the mirror, and I actually have a video probably somewhere on YouTube where I teach people like you look in the mirror and you just slowly start to nod your head and then you smile as if you actually care about the person looking at you.
Yeah.
And then you say, I love myself. And you let it settle on your soul. And it's such a difficult thing, Kaden, but it's so beautiful. It needs to be done. And you will notice, like you said, I'm in such a good space. Now people will notice the change. Before you even see it, people will notice, they'll be like, wow, why did you do something to your hair? What's happening? Well, actually, what happened was that whatever's inside you, that happiness, that joy is going to come out. People are going to see that. Okay, so that's beautiful. And just like Kaden and myself, you guys, there are so many online resources. I mean, really, there's no reason why we should suffer. I also have my own community. So I'm on Facebook, it's Amiena Inspired, and I'm on Instagram. So if you guys are on Instagram, you guys will see me doing all these amazing things. Be part of people like Kaden and myself that have gone through the journey that don't want you to go alone. Okay, we want you to hold our hand until you say, like, I don't need to hold your hand anymore. I'm good. Go off and do your thing. That's cool. But keep your circle positive. Keep your circle informed. If you find that you're around people and they keep on telling you, why do you want to change your life? Can't you just be happy the way things are? You should be like grateful for that. And you're like, yeah, I am grateful, but maybe I want to go study further. Maybe I want to lose this extra kilos because I don't think that my body represents who I am on the inside. You know what I mean? So it's so important, especially when you're working with people, their bodies and things like that. They hate themselves. They hate themselves. And I'm like, I can get you down to a healthy body weight, but not if your mindset is crap. It doesn't work. Okay. So if you have the right mindset, you just have to, okay, that's a whole other story. So we can do a whole other video about how to lose weight because damn, I got the recipe for that. But at the end of the day, for people that's going on this journey, please connect with people. You don't have to waste a lot of money doing a lot of things, fancy stuff. Just start by Googling, use YouTube effectively for yourself. Like this video, this podcast, this is how you change your life. Just like, okay, if Kaden could do it, maybe I could do it. If Amiena could do this, maybe I could do it. So just like, look, we are normal freaking people. That's what got to me about Tom Bolio and Evans Carmichael. I was like, they look like normal people. They don't look like superstars, whatever. They're normal people. They've been through their own stuff and they're just sharing. So be real. Just start loving yourself and accept that not everyone's going to like who you really are. Kaden, I'm sure there are people that love you, but I'm sure that there are people that really can't stand you.
Yeah.
And that's the case for me too. And that's okay, because you can't be everyone's cup of tea. Nope. Not everyone's going to like Amiena Inspired, I promise you. But I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for me because I have a message, and my message is more important than what other people think of me, And I'm sure it's the same for you as well. So when you're going on this journey, everyone that's watching, understand that this is not a popularity contest. This is not about you having the most friends. This is about you being authentic and standing in your truth. And if your truth is that you want to be a baker, be a freaking baker. Yeah. I don't know how you started out, Kaden, but I started out by writing down that I want to help people. That's all I wrote. I want to help people. I had no idea how that was going to turn out. This was going to turn out. And I'm so grateful because now I'm here and I know what I'm about and I'm high energy. Like, this is just the way I was made. I was like, but if I had to be a lecturer and that's it, lecturing is great, but I only get to see students once or twice a week for 1 hour back in the day. Now it's less. So I love people. I want to be around people. I'm like, so that's what I need to do. And so now I'm full of like purpose. I'm living my life on purpose. So do all of those things and do get in contact with me. Yay.
And Dr. Peck, I would love us to speak for as much as possible. And the thing is, what I like what you said about self-love. And I think that people don't understand the difference between the vulnerability. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to cry. It's okay to tell yourself you love yourself and to tell the next person you love them.
Yeah.
So how can people take that all away or the God? What can they do, Dr. Peck?
Well, I know it sounds like a lot of work, but you have to say the words that your mind needs to hear.
Just
So you need
become
to say
what
the
you say,
words.
right?
Yeah. So the words that you have to say is, I love myself. I matter. I'm visible. I'm worthy. Whatever you want in life, start saying those words. Nobody's going to come to you and just like come into your office or into your home and say, wow, Kaden, you should have a YouTube channel. Why are you sitting here? Like, no one's going to find you in the back in the yard, busy doing whatever, and say you should be on YouTube. It takes effort, and it takes self-belief. So start with those small things, just like talk yourself into a better state of mind. Have better people on your phone. If there are people on your phone and all they want to do is like dumb stuff, start deleting them. Block, delete. Why? I don't have time for that. And I tell people on Instagram, like yesterday, I got this weird message and such crap. And I was just like, block, delete, unfollow. So quick. I'm not going to waste my whole life over this human being. But if you are somebody that really wants to make a change, start prioritizing yourself. Start loving yourself. Start standing up for yourself. And you can start small. So, for example, you got a lot of those people pleasers. Start small. So if you like your coffee a certain way, say, I like it with 2 sugars, stirred anti-clockwise, whatever you want to say. But don't just say, oh, I'll take it any way you want, just like fry the egg. You know what I used to do, Kaden? I used to say, if the people ask me, like, how do you like your eggs? I'm like, whichever way you like it. What the hell? I don't like eggs whichever way people make it.
Because we're all
but I was
different,
saying
right,
that,
Dr. Peck?
yes, and also because I didn't value myself. I just thought if it's good enough for them, then I'll just take it. I'll just take whatever's left, that kind of attitude. What crap, you know what I mean? So now I would say to everyone starting out, start small and recognize that some people are going to be in your corner. And unfortunately, some people that you really thought are going to be excited for you are not. And let them go. They're not part of your growth. They're part of the old version of you, And I've got young friends, old friends, all kinds of diversity. You know why? Because I don't give a crap. I also don't care what people say. Like, how can you possibly have a friend that says, oh, who the heck are you? You're not in my life. I do what I need to do, and I'm a happier person for this. So you gotta practice that. You gotta practice it.
How important is that to not have the perception of worrying about what other people think about ourselves? That skill is so important. Because
oh my God, yeah.
Because once we don't care about what other people think, and then we can be ourselves. We can do what makes us happy.
Yes, it's such an important thing. It's like, I think like that is just part of growth. So once you start looking at yourself and thinking, you know what, I matter, I am important. What I say, this is my mission. When you start, and you have to be a little bit selfish. You got to be a little bit selfish in the beginning, because you have to nurture the person you're becoming. So what other people think of you, eventually it becomes like just like white noise in the background, whatever. And I actually went to my family when I discovered myself. I've got a huge family. I went to my family and I said to them, I want you to know that the Amiena that you used to know wasn't complete. Okay? So you're going to see more of me on YouTube and other places, but I just want you to know that this is the real me. And I hope that you love me, but it's up to you. This is my close family. Now, what do you think I think about the neighbors and this unto you. That I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. And in fact, and this is going to set everyone free. Kaden, I don't know if you heard it before, but this is amazing. So in my workshops, I always teach people, other people can say whatever they like about you, but you got to take it one step further. It is their human right to say whatever the hell they want to say about you. It is their right, it is their throat, it is their mind, it is their thoughts, but it is your responsibility to love yourself. It is your responsibility to support yourself. It is your responsibility to say, I matter. So I look at people, if they want to say whatever, I'm like, yeah, it's their right. It's a human right not to like me. It's a human right not to subscribe to my channel. Fuck, that's fine if you don't like it. But it's my responsibility to love and support myself 100%. So now you let people, yeah, you see what I mean? Now you're like, go on, man. To hate on me, that's fine. That's your human right. But it is my responsibility to love myself. And that set me free.
And Dr. Peck, how we react says a lot about our character. Because we quick to get defensive instead of observing the thought. And I watched your video yesterday, Dr. Peck. You mentioned in your video of the importance of now. You spoke about now. Please share with people that, please.
Oh my God. So Eckhart Tolle, he like also changed my life. So basically it talks about the present moment, right? And people miss it all the time because we're so worried about tomorrow or we're stressed about yesterday. And so we miss the only time that we're guaranteed, which is this moment. This moment that I'm talking to you, I don't know if I'm going to have a stroke when I leave here, whatever's going to happen. But I know that I'm here right now. I'm alive and I'm present. And I always tell people like, live your life on purpose. This is the moment that you have. Now, people will say, no, but I'm worried about the future. Then I jokingly tell them, let me take you to your future. And they're like, okay. And I can take you now as well. So I'm going to take you like whatever time it is, 5 seconds into the future. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are now in the future. But it feels like the present moment. Why? Because the present moment is your future. So what you're doing in this present moment creates your future. Wow. So if you're stressing right now, you're stressing into your future. And I don't a damn play by the rules. Okay, that's why people come to me like, Amiena, this is what happened. I'm like, cool. Pause. Like you were asking about the actions. So it's very important that you pause. And you breathe and you look around and you see what's happening. Like you don't have to respond immediately, especially on text. You know, sometimes you get a message, you're like, what the, like how could this person? No, put your phone down, breathe, go take a walk outside, look at the birds, come back. And that's why meditation, I don't know, Kaden, if you meditate, but it is so freeing. Yes. Do you do it in the morning or the evening?
I prefer in the morning, 5 a.m. 5:30.
Yeah. Oh, the 5 a.m. club, yes.
Oh, you know that as well.
Oh, yes. So it's so beautiful, that quiet time. And it's like a massage for your brain. Like people love body massages, but a brain massage is beautiful. So you just like breathe. And my children, they're such buggers. Like in the week, they can't get up at all. But on the weekend, they're up very early. They want to come and join me in my space. And I realize it's because it's so calm. They want to watch the birds with me and they just want to sit with me. They want to sit on me, play with my hair. But if you think about it, you are creating energy. So you've got an energy created about yourself, and so do I. And so people actually recognize the energy and they want to be there. And some people, when they see you so calm, it irritates the crap out of them. And then then you'll see they'll move on. Or unfortunately, if you're not conscious enough, you will actually drop your level of awareness and start kind of getting unconscious. And then you just like allow this person to take over the way you feel. And so that's why it's so important to be here in the present moment. My kids are knocking on the door, but let's just ignore that. So being in the present moment is actually the cure. So if you're feeling stressed, just ask yourself, can I breathe? Okay, can I breathe? Can I like move my fingertips? Okay, so what's happening? Put my hand on my heart. My heart beats 100,000 times a day. 100,000 times a day for myself, for me, right? So I am important. So you do all of these things just to remind yourself that you are here and you are present. And I mean, it's a beautiful thing. It's free. God damn it, it's free to meditate. You know, there's no wrong way of meditating. They say the only way you can do it wrong is if you don't do it. So anything else, have a cup of tea, have a cup of coffee, sit down, put the TV off if you can, you know, get out into the fresh air, some sunlight, and
Because I
you're
think,
good.
Dr. Peck, when we meditate as well, we become conscious of our unconscious thoughts as well. And we start
Mm.
realizing what we actually need to change about ourselves because we're present, like you said, we're present. And Dr.
Mm.
Peck, if you could make one change in the world, what would it be and why?
I actually sat a long time with that question. I have to be honest with you because there's so many things that I want to do. But I think, in a nutshell, I want to teach little kids and everyone in the world to love themselves because love is the cure all. For the most hardened prisoner in Portsmouth prison or wherever, self love is important for them too. Just like it is for a newborn baby that has just been brought into the world. So when you recognize this beautiful quote about every time you look into somebody's eyes, you will never not see the work of the creator, right? So every single human being on earth deserves love. The only trick is we have to give it to ourselves and stop looking outside of ourselves for other people to love us.
Wow.
And once you get there, you will change the world, you know? And so I just want to say thank you to you because this has been amazing.
Thank you to you too, Dr.
Self-love,
Peck.
I love all this.
Thank you, Dr. Peck, for coming on to Inspire Minds. I'm sure everyone watching really, really appreciates it and it will change their life, even if it's one person, Dr. Peck. I think
Just
that
one
is so
would be nice.
important because so many people would prefer to a million people, but one person, that's all it takes, Dr. Peck. And thank you to
100.
everyone. Thank you to everyone for watching this episode as well. Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Peck.
you.
I really, really appreciate
You
it.
must. Okay,
Thank
but
you.
chat to you soon. We got a lot to chat about.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Dr. Peck. Have a beautiful
Thank
day.
you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Okay, bye.
Bye.